Aston Martin driver Lance Stroll has been ruled out of pre-season testing at the 11th hour after the Canadian sustained injuries from a minor accident while out cycling in Spain. The 24-year-old is expected to make a quick recovery, with his fitness set to be assessed daily and an update expected ahead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Aston Martin's reserve drivers Stoffel van Dorn and Felipe Drugovich remain on hand, should the Canuck not be ready to race in Sakhir. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc only has eyes for the crown this year, with the Monegasque determined to put a problem-filled 2022 season behind him and secure his maiden title.
Last year was a good step forward. We need to do just the same this year and hopefully get the championship. That is the target for all the team, and it is the target for me too. Get more wins, hopefully be more consistent from the first race to the last race, and hopefully we'll get that title.
Leclerc won 2 of the first 3 Grands Prix last year, putting him in an enviable position at the top of the standings. But his campaign soon fell apart, with mistakes like Imola, where he spun, and France, where he went into the barriers. Power unit forced DNFs and bungles, both operational and strategic. And all against the backdrop of Red Bull's increasing dominance. Max Verstappen says the FIA's annual F1 super license fee is absurd, with the Dutchman's bill for 2023 set at almost €1 million. F1 drivers pay a base fee of €10,400, plus an additional €2,100 for each point scored in the previous season, making Verstappen's dominant 2022 campaign an expensive one, with 454 points. But while Red Bull picks up the tab for Verstappen, the Dutchman is still outspoken on the exorbitant cost for drivers. "I don't think it's right that we have to pay so much," he said. "That's not the case in other sports, and there are more and more races." It's reported that Verstappen will be paid $55 million, equal to €51.5 million, by Red Bull for 2023. So Lewis Hamilton has already begun talks with Mercedes on extending his contract beyond 2023, though no deadline has been set. The 7-time F1 World Champion heads into his 11th season with the Silver Arrows, his 17th F1 campaign, with 2023 marking the second and final year on his current contract. Another 2-year extension is expected, with the value reportedly worth upwards of $140 million. But Hamilton is said to be seeking an additional 10-year deal as a Mercedes ambassador, which could reportedly net him more than $250 million through to 2034. But at the launch, the focus was on his love of racing.
You know, it's not the same car every year, you know, it's always changing. There's always new tools, always a new logbook that you have to get used to. And I love that, so, you know, planning to stay a little bit longer.
Pierre Gasly is under no illusion as to what he wants from his new squad Alpine, with the podium's top step his ultimate goal. Alpine launched its A523 last week at a glamorous London event, but it was conservative in its approach to the coming season, with the target to close the gap to the top teams and podiums on occasion. But Gasly has brought an intensity to his new role, which may in the future reignite his rivalry with new teammate Esteban Ocon.
I'm here to win, that's what I want, and I'll bring that mentality, that spirit, that motivation to every single member in the team, and from what I've seen so far, it's a very impressive, organization with big facilities, incredible technical staff and people. So we got all the tools to succeed.
The A523 may look similar in livery to its predecessor, with Alpine set to run an all-pink livery for the opening 3 rounds, but below the surface, it's anything but.
We've changed a great deal of the car from front to back, all the way from the front wing and the structures, the floor, through the bodywork. heat rejection system, front suspension, rear suspension. So, you know, it's been quite an extensive program, and it's all there really to enable aerodynamics and the performance of our car overall.
Fernando Alonso is bullish about his new team Aston Martin's prospects this season, with a focus on scoring points at every race. The two-time F1 world champion switched to the green squad this year from Alpine. But while it was originally thought a backward step, Aston Martin's quiet confidence about its AMR 23 could change that.
So we want to hit that midfield, we want to get closer to these top three, and then in 2024 make another step into that direction. So yeah, let's say scoring points, being in the points every race, and get closer and closer to that podium positions that hopefully this year we can get that possibility already.
The AMR 23 has been labeled an aggressive, no-compromise evolution of last year's car, with Red Bull and Ferrari's influence clear, but has just 5% carryover of parts, with Aston Martin's urgent ambition a match for Alonso's.
I think it was quite an ambitious project. Aston Martin from the first time that I heard about. This new factory, new internal coming, a lot of new people on the technical department that joined the team last year. So there were like all the ingredients to have success in the future.
Williams's Alex Albon has questioned the effectiveness of the FIA's recent ruling that drivers cannot make political, religious, or personal statements without written permission. The update to the FIA's International Sporting Code, which is an attack on free speech, came in December 2022, with a clarification last week that it applies during FIA press conferences, unless asked a direct question by a journalist, on-track activities, and post-race procedures. But Albon, at the Williams launch prior to the FIA's clarification, said that he expected no change to the status quo.
Firstly, I'd be surprised if drivers take the role of actually muting themselves. I don't think we will see, but you know, I think as individuals we're strong and we'll stand up for problems that, you know, cultural issues or whatever it may be.
The FIA update says all penalties may apply, but Albon's countryman Sir Lewis Hamilton has already said nothing will stop him from speaking out on important issues, while F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has backed the right to free speech. Alfa Romeo will make a decision in June as to whether it will remain in F1 after it cuts ties with Sauber at the end of the season. Alfa Romeo returned to F1 in 2019, rebranding the Swiss squad, with the potential for a full takeover. But it failed to expand the deal, and German brand Audi swooped in to secure the squad from 2026. Alfa Romeo, though, knows it still wants to remain involved in racing. We are looking at all the options in motorsport. At the end of June, our desire is to also communicate to the outside world what we can do, said the brand's CEO Jean-Philippe Imperato. Haas new recruit Nico Hulkenberg has opened up on the challenge of his 5 F1 stand-in appearances during the COVID-19 pandemic, stating his experience helped him survive the deep end. Hulkenberg, whose last full-time seat was with Renault in 2019, was a man in demand during the pandemic, with 5 starts for Silverstone team Racing Point turned Aston Martin, 3 alone during 2020. But he says jumping in with limited preparation was no picnic.
You kind of put in the deep end, but yeah, I did what I could, tried as hard as I can. I think what helped me is, you know, the experience that I have. I know these cars, I have Formula 1 experience, so I think I used that to my advantage. And all in all, if you consider and look back on those times and the Corona races I did, they were pretty successful.
The Hulk's best result came at the 2020 70th anniversary Grand Prix at Silverstone, where he qualified 3rd and finished 7th. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.